Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first episode of Another Swing at It, a series where I redraw some of my old works and we both learn something from it. So here's a drawing from 2 years ago. I had a bit of a demon girl phase. This was from my high school sketchbook, so these would just be random sketches from class. So first from me is the face. Though I was very stylized back then, I would change the facial proportions to make them more realistic. First off, I will lessen the eyes, make them smaller, and give more space for the forehead, and even pull the hairline back just a touch. I always find it common amongst beginner artists that they do not leave enough space for the forehead or the chin, which I'll touch on later. It's often that space is taken up by the eyes. Of course, eyes are too big. Of course, that's up to your style or whatever. But a trick that I also use for that is the triangle trick. You just draw a triangle, and where the eyes are, the two corners of the triangle, that's where the eyes are, and where those two lines meet is where the mouth is going to be. And that's, been pretty good for me. And again, the distance of the eyes, draw a straight line down, that's where the beginning, the sides of the lips should be. That's something that's helped me a lot with making my faces look more balanced. And believe me, they look more human, of course, because you're using human proportions on a character. And that's going to make it look more human and more relatable and more... It just looks better. The forehead is a pretty big part of your head. Minimum, like 1/3 of your face. Another body part or proportion that gets shrunken was the chin. The space from the lips to the chin are way too small. Sure, shrinking those proportions like the forehead and the chin may look cute, it certainly does not help accuracy and anatomy, and to some degree it just doesn't look good. The mouth can also use some work. From how big and up front the teeth are, it's not realistic at all. The thickness of the walls of your mouth leave a lot of space, and there's a lot of perspective that could happen with the teeth and stuff like that. So they will often look very sunken in, because they are. Your teeth, the distance from the surface of your mouth to where your teeth are, there's good distance because your lips are in the middle of it. And that's something even I am studying right now, which is how to draw the lips and the mouth even better. Because as a cartoonist, you'd wish that the mouth was just a simple hole in the mouth. Like, there's no depth to it. It's just straight through, like a fucking weird jack-o'-lantern or something. But no, the mouth is very complicated with how our lips form and how our lips look from certain perspectives and how they look when we're saying certain things. And it's just, something that I had been ignoring, and I'm gonna start studying them, and I believe you should too. Just do a good couple of studies of the mouth, and overall just do a couple of good studies of the face. I believe quickposes.com has a good library of face references, and just any picture, pretty much any fucking picture is a good reference for a face. I'm just gonna be honest. I will say my line work has certainly been cleaner, but it's kind of hard. If you could see, her tongue slithers down to kind of wrap around the boob, and it's kind of hard to see. It's kind of hard to see it stand out because of the shoddy line work and pretty rough hatch job. The blotty ink style has kind of made it hard to focus and destroys any effect leading lines and line weight would have. So overall, it's pretty hard to look at. And you know what I said about leading lines, I wish I knew a little bit more, enough to confidently tell you about that, but I can tell you about line weight. You know, I would say line weight is a dangerous weapon, because if you wield it wrong, it can certainly destroy a lot of aspects of a drawing. And if you wield it well and know how to use it, it can just bring a drawing, it could just make it so much better. Like, using a brush pen correctly to make something, line weight can perceive so much and communicate so much, even though it's as simple as line thick, line thin. It can communicate so many things, like shadow, like weight, something that you want your eyes drawn to, something that could show thickness. It's really strong when you use it the correct way, but I do recommend studying a lot with brushes if you plan to use line weight in your drawings. Next is the fabric on the breasts. It would be really hard for the tongue to press down on the fabric around the breast enough for it to disappear behind the other. It just doesn't look good like that, and you know, need to make it more realistic. Of course, again, this is going to be a big divide between my older stylized art and my newer, more realistic style, and that will come up again. You could see 3 stubby issues with this drawing. The fingers, I used to draw only 4 fingers, yes, I like The Simpsons. So yes, I draw all 5 fingers now. And also the size of the hand is okay, but normally I have a maximum of the entire hand is the size of the entire head, and a minimum of it being from about the distance of your chin to the distance of your hairline, where it would be on your head. Go ahead and put your own hand up to your face. It's really close to that, and if you're, like I said, the maximum is the size of the head. So while, of course, I don't think it's perfect, nothing's perfect that I create, I think it did a lot better of a job showing where the focus of the piece was by using a lot of white space. You know, it was early with my hatch work that and the line work and the hatching style I used to have, it would really mess up white space and kind of crowd everything to where there is no white space and no balance. And in this drawing, you can see the balance between the darkness of the horns, darkness of the skirt. Bring it up, and it will show you the focus, the darkest parts. I think it has a lot more realism, and the hatch looks more controlled because of, you know, when I go in and sketch in the spots that I do want to put more shadows in, or the opposite, put highlights in. I think it does a lot better of a job, and while I still have a blotty style on the line work, it's a lot more controlled and looks a lot more steady, but also has the texture. I would say texture. It still has that texture where it's a shaky line and varies sometimes in thickness, but it's not. I'm still sick. It's not the fact that I still rely on line weights. I try and keep it pretty consistent now in my works. So yeah, I would say it's a pretty good improvement, and hope we both learned something.